Ava needed the break. Her therapist called it resetting the nervous system. A week alone in a cabin upstate with no cell service, no email, and no social expectations. Just birdsong and books. No one knew exactly where she was, not even her ex-husband, who kept trying to text her cryptic messages late at night. She cooked with a camp stove. The fireplace hadn't worked in years, but she didn't need it. She wasn't there to be comfortable. She was there to forget. A cold wind whispered through the window cracks, though all the windows were shut. Then she saw it, a figure in the woods, far off in the tree line, just standing there, not moving. A tall outline, no lantern, no light. Something about wrong shadows in the corners and how they remember you. She turned her phone off for good on the second day. The cabin was old but sturdy. Dark wood, creaking floorboards, a single light bulb per room. The first strange thing happened on the third night. At 1:13, Amema's lights flickered. Ava had just finished brushing her teeth. She stared at it for almost a full minute before it turned and melted back into the forest. She told herself it was just a camper, harmless, probably lost. But the next night, the lights went out completely. At exactly 1:13, Emma lit a candle. The flame shivered unnaturally. She walked to the window. There were 3 figures now, same height, same posture, same distance, until she heard something from under the floorboards, a knock, just watching. They vanished when she blinked. She tried calling someone. Phone had no service, internet out, landline, dead. Her car wouldn't start. She found herself pacing the cabin like a caged animal, whispering, "It's fine, it's fine." Not random, 3 precise knocks. And then a voice, barely a whisper. "Do you remember the room with no doors?" She didn't respond. She couldn't move. The whisper came again, this time from the opposite wall. "We do." Ava backed away, shaking, until her heel hit the cold metal trapdoor she hadn't noticed before, in the floor under the rug near the fireplace. There was no keyhole, just 4 strange symbols carved into the wood. That night, she didn't sleep. At exactly 1:13 a.m., she sat in the middle of the cabin, all lights on. Every candle lit, the figures followed, but only when she turned her back. Each time she looked over her shoulder, they stood perfectly still. The lights died instantly. She waited. No sound. Then, a slow creak from the floor. She turned to see the trapdoor open just an inch. Nothing was there. No trapdoor. No symbols. No figures. From inside, a finger, impossibly long, jointed in the wrong places, emerged and pointed at her. Then came the sound of a dozen footsteps, padding softly inside the walls. "People say that place used to be a spiritual retreat," he said. Some of them stayed behind. She ran. Out the door, into the woods, barefoot, branches clawing her skin, but closer. Always closer. By sunrise, she collapsed near an old logging road and flagged down a pickup truck. The driver was kind but silent. He offered her water, drove her back to town. She called the local sheriff, who accompanied her to the cabin, but her car started just fine, as if nothing had ever happened. The sheriff looked at her sideways. Ava didn't sleep that night either, not after she found a photograph tucked into her coat pocket that hadn't been there before. It showed her in the cabin from outside the window, her face lit by candlelight. Behind her were 12 shadows. None of them hers. 2 weeks later, Ava moved to a new apartment in the city. High-rise, bright lights, noise, safety in the crowd. The first few nights were fine, but one evening, the power blinked off at 1:13 a.m., only for a second. When it came back on, there were muddy footprints in her living room. She doesn't go outside anymore. She keeps every light on all night. Because when the lights go out, they remember her, and they are getting closer.